Good morning, everybody. Today, I really wanted to talk about a particular topic that everybody keeps asking me about. And so I thought I would take the time I have before I start my Longevity Lovers live workshop and really talk about mental health and nutrition. And many times you'll hear me speak about stress and where we are mentally has a huge impact on other activities and decisions that affect our overall, not only longevity, but our quality of life. And so, really, I think it really just kind of underscores the growing awareness and curiosity about how diet can impact your mental well being. So they really are intricately linked. And the evidence shows that what we consume can significantly affect our mood, our cognitive function, and really our overall psychological state. And to share a quick story, I had a patient that was dealing with schizophrenia, and she was taking medications to manage her schizophrenia. And when she would eat a healthy, whole food, plant based diet, she became symptomatic free with her medications in place as well. When she started eating ultra processed foods or would veer away from a whole food, plant based diet, she started having visual and auditory hallucinations. And so I thought that was very interesting and really highlights the need to consume an anti inflammatory diet. And there's no diet like that except the whole food, plant based diet. And so, how does this work exactly? Well, I think at the heart of the connection is the gut brain axis, right? So, that's really this complex communication network. It's linking the GI, your gastrointestinal tract, and the brain. And so, it's not only important for your digestive health, but it really is important for mental health. So, the gut, what we call the microbiome or the gut microbiota, comprises billions of bacteria that influence the production of neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine. And those regulate your mood and your emotions. And so then a balanced diet, one especially rich in fiber and phytochemicals and vitamins and minerals, really support that healthy gut microbiome, and that fosters your mental well-being. In addition, there's some really interesting thing called nutritional psychiatry. Came across this term a few years ago, and that's an emerging field that just kind of talks about the role of food and mental health. And so research shows that diets high in fruits, vegetables, unprocessed grains, meaning, not the floury products, and foods that are high in omegas have a lower risk of depressive symptoms. So these would be things like omega-3 fatty acids, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, which again, at the end of the day, combat inflammation, oxidative stress, and both are linked to mood disorders. We also need to pay attention to deficiencies, right? So that's why it's really important to eat a wide and deep variety of foods. We want to look at a variety of colors across the span of all plant-based categories. So fruits, veggies, beans, whole grains, nuts, and seeds. We cannot be fat phobic in a healthy plant-based diet. And really thinking about the different varieties even within those categories, right? So maybe you have oatmeal and brown rice or quinoa or farro in the grain category. In the beans, you're doing red lentils and black beans and pinto beans and kidney beans and chickpeas. In the fruits, you're doing all the berries, the blackberries, the blueberries, all yada yada, raspberries. The veggies, you're doing, again, dark green leafy vegetables. You're doing cruciferous vegetables. So lots of variety, like I said, in depth and breadth. So think about that. It's really important. So when we look at nutritional deficiencies, particularly omega-3 fatty acids, B vitamins, and vitamin D, and minerals like zinc, magnesium, that can exacerbate mental health issues, right? So when you have low levels, for example, of B12 and folate, that can be associated with depressive symptoms or fatigue. So really want to make sure that you, as a plant-based eater, are taking the one supplement that I say is a non-negotiable, at least with my patients, is B12. And most of my patients require 500 to 1,000 micrograms daily, and to ensure that you're above 500, less than 1,100 when you do your blood test. Myself, for example, I take 1,000 micrograms every single day. I just got blood work back. My levels are right around 915. So that's, and I'm religious about taking that B12. I take 2,000 units of vitamin D daily, and my level of vitamin D is like 41. So, and I'm in the sun a lot, as much as possible. So keeping those things in mind, sometimes you need supplementations, and other times you can just focus in on foods. For example, I eat a couple of tablespoons of pumpkin seeds a day. I checked my zinc level and it was perfectly right in the middle. So again, some lots of things that you can do just with food, but on occasion, a supplement with the guidance of a healthcare professional might be needed to make sure that you're getting everything that you need. All right. So, really, again, just remember that when you adopt a diet that's just naturally high in nutrients, like a plant based diet, it can really support your brain health because it's low in things like processed, ultra processed foods, sugars, high in really inflammatory type of fats. And studies have found that those who follow a whole food plant based diet can really experience better mood and lower stress levels. One, because there's lower inflammation, they're sleeping better, their mood's better because they're probably decreasing certain types of medications, their health status improves, so that's less stressful. So it's multifactorial, but we cannot negate the nutrition that you're getting from the plant based diet and your direct impact on your mental health. So, how can we do that? I think there's four things we want to make sure that we're doing. One, we talk about incorporating variety in depth, breadth, colors, lots of colors. You could even make it a game with your kids. You could put a calendar or yourself and put a checklist over all the different things that you're actually consuming and found helpful. For example, today we did red for red bell peppers, orange for oranges. We could do dark green leafies for the green. We could do some type of maybe lemons for yellows. We could do blueberries for kind of the purple bluish colors. We could do black beans for the darker black. It's like really truly black beans, kind of like a dark purple. But anyway, that's where you're just think about those type of things and how fun that can be, especially when you have younger children. Next, you really want to focus on these gut health. So you could include probiotic rich foods like fermented vegetables or something like a plant-based unsweetened yogurt that can really help support your gut microbiome. And of course, in the different types of plants that you're going to be consuming have different types of fiber, different percentages of their makeup will be different types of fibers, more starchy vegetables, more non-starchy vegetables. Again, each of those will build and support your microbiome in different ways. Maybe I'll do a video on the different types of fiber. Next, monitor intake. Really just make sure you're getting adequate omega-3s. You can do a blood test called Omega Check. How accurate is it? I think that's still up for debate, but it is an insurance policy in my mind. So the three supplements that I take regularly, B12, vitamin D, and my algae omega-3s. I think my brain health and heart health, there's something that I don't want to just necessarily say, yeah, I just going to assume that I'm getting I don't know, because when I checked my omega checks before taking the omegas, it was a little bit low, even though I eat ALA-rich foods like walnuts and chia seeds and ground flax. I do want to make sure that I'm getting enough of the omegas. And so I started supplementing and it bounced right up into that nice little range. Next, literally limit these ultra processed foods. I hate to use the word processed foods because even beans, when they cooked, are kind of processed. But what I'm talking about is this ultra processed foods that have like frankenfoods, right? They have a long list of chemicals and things that you just cannot quite understand how to say unless you have some special degree. But you really want to limit your intake of added sugars, not necessarily the natural quote unquote sugars that you'll find in fruits. What we're talking about is the tablespoon sugars that you're adding, right? The things, but then even limit things like maple syrup. And if you're not vegan, but honey, agave, because your body still sees these are simple sugars and they will react. You'll see quite a bit of a rise in your glucose. I would also be very careful, especially if you have any insulin resistance around dried fruit. Some things like dates or dried mangoes, they are quite delicious and can be taken in. I think maybe in a recipe would be better, but if you're taking them by yourself and you're eating significant amounts, you're going to have continued elevated blood sugars. Again, which can contribute to oxidative stress, insulin resistance, lots of things going on there. It doesn't necessarily cause the insulin resistance, but you have this elevated insulin response because of the high blood sugars. Okay. Yeah, I think those are the main things, really. It's looking at the science of the, gut-brain axis. The nutritional psychiatry is just fascinating. Really think about deficiencies and breadth and depth of foods. focus on the different types of fibers. And really, I think you're going to be heading in the right direction. Now, you still may require medication. May still need other professional help, and that's okay. There's no judgment here. But at the end of the day, control what you can, and that's what's on the end of your fork. So the more plant-based rich foods you consume and put on your plate, the better you're going to be on the longevity piece, which I'm excited about to do the workshop here in a few minutes, but also just your overall health. Your health span will increase and lifespan. So great. Someone's asking, what is the name of the omega-3? It's an algae omega-3. It's called Nordic Naturals. There's one, and there's several other ones. Complement's a great brand that also incorporates algae omega-3s. You could also take Terra Seeds, another good one. So there's a few different ones. All right. Let's see. Okay, there you go, guys. I think that's everything. And thanks for joining me again. As always, I want to wish you peace, joy, love, and just grateful you're here for me today, and abundance coming your way. So, one last question. Someone's asking, what B12 do you recommend? There's a few different ones. If you really want to look at just taking the three, like the D, the B12, and the algae omegas, Complement has a nice little pack, just like the essentials, I think it's what it's called. So that might be a great one to start with. Yeah. All right. And it comes from great sources. I know who the founders, and they're good people. So, all right, guys, thanks again.